Jay Palladino, the person, started off at a very early age as a street paramedic in Austin, Texas. Whereas any 21-year-old who's gotten into emergency services continues to look for growth and opportunity. So by the early age of 28, I had already been promoted to a lieutenant, was doing search and rescue operations with our local partners and services that included helicopters and fire departments, and was looking for that next adventure, if you will, and had a bunch of friends that were in the contracting business overseas, working in Iraq, Afghanistan, in the war zones. And so Jay Palladino wanted to understand what that was about, and started looking, and ended up finding a project that was in partnership with the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, where they were going into the country of Qatar. Once a person makes the jump to becoming an expat or an expatriate and working abroad, I feel that the need for the next adventure is always there. So after we started in Qatar and building the EMS system, which included some helicopters as well, I was asked to come over to Saudi Arabia and establish a helicopter system here. Once that first helicopter system got going here in Saudi Arabia, the government of Saudi Arabia, or the Minister of Interior, asked me to come help them build another system for the military here. And so I started down that path in 2010. And ran and built the program, what is known today as Alpha Star Aviation Services. Alpha Star Aviation Services was started in 2010. They are a Part 121 provider here in Saudi Arabia by the General Authority of Civil Aviation, which is GACA, which is very similar to the FAA. We provide everything from charter services to cargo services to medical evacuation. We've moved over about 2,500 patients since inception. And we have now commercialized that program as of 2019. And as you are well aware, we were CAMES accredited during the pandemic in May of 2020. And then we have just undergone a recent CAMES audit in country where we should be reaccredited for the full 3 years. Alpha Star has positioned itself in the market here to provide the same level of medical evacuation that you would find in other tourist destinations, whether that's Europe or the Americas or the Far East. We positioned ourselves to provide the exact same level of service to the tourist coming into the country in such a form that our services are now open to all of those tourists coming in, and to those companies that are not only sending tourists, but they're sending workers here. The fleet consists of the backbone of our medical evacuation services, 2 Hawker 900 XPs. These aircraft are dedicated to the medevac program and can carry both single and dual patient configurations for ICU patients. We also have an Airbus A320, which is outfitted to carry 4 ICU patients in the rear of the aircraft. This aircraft obviously can make transatlantic crossings, and is used for the government and for VIPs in the area who may be traveling with large entourages. We also have a Gulfstream G450 that is just coming online. Again, it is set up for transatlantic passages or nonstop service to, say, Europe from the Middle East. It also comes in a single and dual configuration. And finally, we have a couple of ATR aircraft that we use as our mass casualty aircraft. These aircraft can carry up to 10 patients. If you were purchasing the tourism visa, it did come with some sort of travel insurance benefit. The same benefit is also usually a rider on the Hajj and Umrah tourism visas, if you will, as well, to my knowledge. However, the billing and the activation of those is something that is still being worked out through the government here, because it's still very new. Again, the tourism visa was only open about 6 months maybe before it got closed. Where we had already dealt with a pandemic before. We were actively and currently dealing with the MERS coronavirus, which started in Saudi Arabia. So we had the equipment, we had the training, we had the know-how and the experience in transporting patients that had been infected with MERS. So when the coronavirus, COVID, came around, for us it was a quick learning grasp to be able to put our teams into action and be able to support the government with moving patients infected with corona. And for us, we were the only commercial operator that was still flying domestically here in KSA. We actually saw a pretty dramatic increase in cases that we normally wouldn't have transported because of corona. So for us, it was an uptick in flights. And where we were hurt from not being able to fly outside the country, we replaced it obviously with internal domestic flights. Saudi Arabia enacted that every expat worker here that is employed must have health insurance provided by the employer. The privatization of the healthcare industry here has exploded over the last 10 years. And then obviously the government is the largest provider of healthcare here. And those services are available to everyone, regardless of race, religion, or creed. The most complicated flights that we perform is the initiation of ECMO. So we actually do primary cannulation in the field. So we take a team from Riyadh, we fly to another city in the country. Our team accompanies the ECMO team to the sending facility, where we actually initiate the surgical procedure of applying and putting the patient on ECMO. This requires a lot of logistical timing for us because of the flight duty days and keeping the aircraft available. As far as our longest flights, I would have to say America. Multiple times we've taken multiple patients for the government in the back of the Airbus and stopped at Boston Children's, the Mayo Clinic, then our cruise overnight, and then they fly back. And most of the time, usually when we're coming back this direction, there's always a patient that is also being picked up and brought back this direction. I think by us going through and voluntary going through a CAMES accreditation speaks for itself that we are meeting the same standards that other CAMES accredited companies, whether that's in the United States, in Europe, or in the Far East, are meeting, right? We were audited and held to the same standards. And so we'll let the CAMES accreditation speak for itself with regards to our level of service. Yep, we do about 250 flights a year of all clients. Again, the bulk of that being working with our government partners here. And again, the bulk of that being domestic flights, which are long domestic flights, right? Much different than your average, European flight. Our average flight here is about 1.5 to 2 hours with the patient. Yes, I do. We've seen some definite requests for some international medical evacuations from Riyadh, specifically to India. And now we're starting to see business travel. Look, Arab Health is going on right now as we have this conversation in Dubai. I've seen the footage there. There's not near the turnout that has been there in years, but those are workers and companies represented from all around the world. And if they get sick in Dubai and they need a medical evacuation, we're going to be there and be able to support them if needed.